most of you don't have the time to sit through 5 hours of town halls, but lucky for you, we don't have a life. So we watched the whole thing so we could give you the highlights. Now, each one of these Democrats showed up looking to win over the audience with their policies. So let's kick it off with the frontrunner, Vermont Senator and man whose voice is stuck in caps lock, Bernie Sanders. Last night, he proposed phasing out private insurance, decreasing the racial wealth gap, and extending the early bird special to 7 p.m. But the one moment that got everyone talking was this.
Senator Sanders, you have said that you believe that people with felony records should be allowed to vote while in prison. Does this mean that you would support enfranchising people like the Boston Marathon bomber, a convicted terrorist and murderer?
I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people. Because once you start chipping away and you say, well, that guy committed a terrible crime, not going to let him vote. Or that person did that, not going to let that person vote. You're running down a slippery slope.
Wow, that was a tough question to answer. And I get why Bernie is concerned about slippery slopes. Right? Partly because America has a history of using imprisonment to disenfranchise minority voters. And partly because slippery things are every old man's worst nightmare. Right? Bernie was also going to be like, I'm also thinking we should all get free Reeboks to wear in the shower. It's a dangerous place. So prisoner voting rights was Bernie's policy bombshell last night. But he wasn't the only one throwing out bold proposals. You see, Kamala Harris had some big ideas of her own. Her town hall was all about reducing the racial gap in maternal mortality, supporting a reparations commission, and making it illegal to mispronounce Kamala. And one of her major moments was when she said this.
We need reasonable gun safety laws in this country, starting with universal background checks and a renewal of the assault weapon ban. Upon being elected, I will give the United States Congress 100 days to get their act together and have the courage to pass reasonable gun safety laws. And if they fail to do it, then I will take executive action.
Wow. Okay, Kamala. Okay, Kamala. 100 days for Congress to do gun control, or I'll do it myself. That's a powerful threat, although I don't know if it's going to work. I mean, it's kind of like a boss telling his laziest employee, I need this report on my desk by the end of the day, or God help me, I will stay here and I will write it myself. Don't with me, Brian. I'll write the shit out of this report. I'll do it all myself, Brian. So, I mean, that's a pretty crazy idea. And I'll be honest with you, no Democrat has been coming out with more policy ideas than Massachusetts Senator and none that got out, Elizabeth Warren. For months now, Warren has been releasing policies faster than Netflix releases documentaries about serial killers. I mean, everything. Breaking up big tech, housing reform, education. And if you're one of those people who's like, oh yeah, but how's she planning to pay for all of it? Well, she's got answers for that too.
I started in several months ago talking about a wealth tax, an ultra-millionaire's tax. It's 2 cents on every dollar of the great fortunes above $50 million. If we put that 2-cent wealth tax in place on the 75,000 largest fortunes in this country, 2 cents, we can do universal child care for every baby 0 to 5, universal pre-K, universal college, and knock back the student loan debt burden for 95% of our students and still have nearly $1 trillion left over.
Oh, that's a lot of great proposals from one tax. And you have to admit, it is brilliant how she just frames it as 2 cents of every dollar above 50 million. Because that's like it just gets into your head. It's really just a 2% tax, right? But everything sounds more reasonable when you put it into cents. It's genius. That's why when they ask you to sponsor an African kid, they say, for just 80 cents a day, you can save this child. Because if they say, you can help this child for $292 a year, you'll be like, wait a minute, that's an Xbox. You're on your own, Mufasa.